Olaves and Newstead Homework 18 walkthrough. Today, we're going to go through some questions together, step by step. Don't worry, I'll explain everything clearly so you can understand. Question 1. Based on the passage, why did Palmer's political career suffer as a result of the Palmer raids? A. Palmer was found guilty of being involved in the bombings. B. The public and federal judges disagreed with the methods used in the raids. C. Palmer refused to take responsibility for the actions of the anarchists. D. Palmer lost the support of the Justice Department officials during the raids. The correct answer here is B. The public and federal judges disagreed with the methods used in the raids. Now, let's see why. The passage mentions that lawyers and judges actually threw out the cases from the Palmer raids. They felt that citizens' rights were being violated, which shows that many people didn't agree with how the raids were conducted. This disagreement really hurt Palmer's image and what people thought of his work in politics. Why are the other options wrong? A is not correct because Palmer wasn't planting bombs himself. He was the head of the Justice Department. C is wrong because it doesn't say in the passage that Palmer didn't take responsibility. Actually, he was the one who organized the raids. D is incorrect because there's no information saying Justice Department officials stopped supporting Palmer. Question 2. What can be inferred about the public's response to the Palmer raids? A. The public supported the actions taken by Palmer and J. Edgar Hoover. B. The public believed that the raids were necessary to protect national security. C. The public was outraged and critical of the Justice Department's actions during the raids. D. The public praised the arrests made during the raids as successful. The answer to this question is C. The public was outraged and critical of the Justice Department's actions during the raids. The passage tells us that the public was outraged by the Palmer raids. When people are outraged, it means they are very angry and critical. They definitely weren't happy about what was happening. Let's look at why the others don't fit. A is wrong because the passage says the public was actually outraged, which is the opposite of support. B is incorrect because it doesn't suggest that most people thought the raids were needed for security. D is not right because the passage doesn't talk about the public praising or celebrating the arrests. Question 3. What does the passage suggest about the government's views on anarchists and socialist revolution before the bombings? A. The government supported the ideologies of anarchists and socialists. B. The government was indifferent to anarchist activities before the bombings. C. The government was concerned and had been monitoring anarchist and socialist activities. D. The government actively encouraged the spread of anarchist principles. The correct answer is C. The government was concerned and had been monitoring anarchist and socialist activities. The passage says that American officials had been watching anarchists and others who spoke out against the United States for a long time. This shows that the government was worried about them and kept a close eye on what they were doing. Here's why the other options don't work. A is wrong because the government didn't support those ideas. B is incorrect because the passage clearly states the government was monitoring them, meaning they weren't indifferent. D is not right because there is no mention of encouragement. The government was watching and worrying, not promoting. Question 4. Based on the passage, why did the Justice Department create the Bureau of Investigation? A. To monitor known anarchists and socialist organizations during World War I. B. To investigate bombings carried out by Italian anarchists across the country. C. To strengthen the government's efforts to win World War I. D. To deport members of the Union of Russian Workers out of the United States. The answer is A. To monitor known anarchists and socialist organizations during World War I. The passage says that Palmer created the Bureau of Investigation and put J. Edgar Hoover in charge to investigate the bombings, because officials had been monitoring anarchists for a while. So it's clear the Bureau was set up to watch over anarchists and socialists. Let's see why the other options aren't the best fit. B is too specific. While the Bureau did look into bombings, the passage really focuses on the monitoring role. C is inaccurate because World War I had already ended in 1918, so that wasn't the main reason. D is wrong because even though deportation happened later, the Bureau's main job was monitoring and investigating. Question 5. What can be inferred about the role of J. Edgar Hoover in the Bureau of Investigation? A. Hoover was responsible for planning and carrying out the Palmer raids. B. Hoover was promoted to lead the Bureau of Investigation after the Palmer raids. C. Hoover was a critic of the Palmer raids and opposed the actions taken during them. D. Hoover was given the task of monitoring known anarchist and socialist revolutionaries. The correct answer is D. Hoover was given the task of monitoring known anarchists and socialist revolutionaries. The passage tells us that Palmer put J. Edgar Hoover in charge of the Bureau and that the Bureau's job was to investigate bombings and watch anarchists. Here's why the other options are not quite right. A is not quite right because Hoover led the Bureau, but he didn't personally plan every raid. B is incorrect because Hoover was in charge from the beginning of the Bureau, not just after the raids. C is wrong because it doesn't say that Hoover criticized or opposed the raids. He was actually in charge of them. Question 6. How did federal judges respond to the Palmer raids? A. Federal judges supported the actions of the Justice Department and upheld the arrests. B. Federal judges threw out the cases and argued that citizens' rights had been violated. C. Federal judges actively participated in the raids and carried out arrests. D. Federal judges refused to cooperate with the Justice Department during the raids. The answer is B. Federal judges threw out the cases and argued that citizens' rights had been violated. The passage says that lawyers and judges threw out the cases, saying that instead of protecting rights, the Justice Department had taken them away. Let's see why the other options are wrong. A is incorrect because judges did not uphold the arrests. They threw them out. C is wrong because judges did not take part in arrests. They dismissed the cases afterward. D is not right because judges didn't just refuse to help. They canceled the cases for legal reasons. Question 7. Question 7. What inference can be made about the outcome of the cases of the arrested individuals? Option A. Most of the arrested individuals were found guilty of planting bombs. Option B. The cases of the arrested individuals were dismissed due to lack of evidence. Option C. The arrested individuals were deported out of the United States after the cases were closed. Option D. The arrested individuals were all proven to be members of the Union of Russian Workers. The answer to question 7 is option B. The cases of the arrested individuals were dismissed due to lack of evidence. And here's the breakdown. Remember how the federal judges threw out the cases? That tells us that most of the arrested people hadn't actually broken any laws. So the cases were dropped because there wasn't enough evidence to prove they had done anything wrong. Option A is incorrect. They were not found guilty, so we can eliminate that. Option C is not the primary outcome. Some deportations did occur, but the passage emphasizes that the main result was the dismissal of cases. Option D. While some individuals may have been members, the passage highlights that they were arrested for their opinions, not necessarily for proven membership in the Union of Russian Workers. All right, moving on to question 8. How did the public's reaction to the Palmer raids impact the Justice Department's reputation? Option A. The public's reaction had no impact on the Justice Department's reputation. Option B. The public's outrage led to an increase in the Justice Department's authority and power. Option C. The Justice Department's reputation suffered due to criticism and loss of support. Option D. The public's support strengthened the Justice Department's position on the Palmer raids. The answer to question 8 is option C. The Justice Department's reputation suffered due to criticism and loss of support. Here's the explanation. The passage mentions that Palmer's political career was ruined and the Justice Department lost powers. This clearly indicates that their reputation took a hit. Option A is wrong. The raids had a clear impact on their reputation. Option B is incorrect. They lost power, not gained it. Option D is wrong because the public was outraged, not supportive. Let's move on to question 9. What can be inferred about the beliefs of Luigi Galliani and his followers? Option A. They advocated for a peaceful resolution to social and political issues. Option B. They believed in supporting the government and its policies. Option C. They promoted the idea of abolishing all governments and social structures. Option D. They focused on creating a more democratic and equal society. The answer is option C. They promoted the idea of abolishing all governments and social structures. Here's why. The passage mentions that anarchists, like Galliani and his followers, believe in getting rid of all governments. Plus, his followers had flyers about war in favor of anarchist ideas. Option A is wrong. They used bombs, so they weren't exactly peaceful. Option B is incorrect. They were against the government. Option D is not right, because their goal was to overthrow governments, not make them more democratic. Now, let's tackle question 10. Why did J. Edgar Hoover emerge as one of the victors after the Palmer raids? Option A. Hoover successfully arrested and deported members of the Union of Russian Workers. Option B. Hoover played a significant role in bombing government buildings during the raids. Option C. Hoover took over Palmer's position in the Justice Department after the raids. Option D. Hoover established the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, as a result of the raids. The answer is Option D. Hoover established the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, as a result of the raids. Here's the reason. The passage says that J. Edgar Hoover ended up in charge of the brand new FBI. Option A is wrong, because creating the FBI was his main victory. Option B is incorrect. He investigated the bombs, he didn't plant them. Option C is not right. Because Hoover led the new bureau, under Palmer's department, he didn't replace Palmer. Alright, now we have some math problems. Let's look at question 11. The number of people who voted for the Green Party in an election was 1,500. The number of people who voted for the Blue Party was 9,000. Write the ratio of Green Party voters to Blue Party voters in its simplest form. The answer to question 11 is 1 to 6. Here's how we get there. We start with the original numbers, 1,500 to 9,000. Now, to simplify a ratio, we need to divide both sides by their highest common factor, which in this case is 1,500. 1,500 divided by 1,500 equals 1. 9,000 divided by 1,500 equals 6. So the simplest form of the ratio is 1 to 6. Formula used. Simplified ratio equals original numbers divided by their highest common factor. Remember, any other answer would be incorrect because the ratio must be fully simplified. And finally, question 12. A piece of carpet is 240 centimeters long. Mr. Jones cuts it into 3 pieces in the ratio 1 to 2 to 5. Work out the length of the longest piece of carpet. The answer to question 12 is 150 centimeters. Okay, let's break it down step by step. Step 1. Add up the parts of the ratio. So 1 plus 2 plus 5 equals 8 parts in total. Step 2. Divide the total length of the carpet by the total number of parts. That's 240 centimeters divided by 8, which equals 30 centimeters per part. Step 3. Find the longest piece. The longest piece is 5 parts, so we multiply 5 by 30 centimeters. 5 times 30 equals 150 centimeters. Formula used. Length of one part equals total length divided by total parts. Then, longest piece equals 1 part times 5. If you got a different answer, double check that you divided the total length equally into the ratio parts and multiplied correctly. With question 13, Sarah has some chocolates, and out of all of them, 24 are white chocolate, 16 are milk chocolate, and 8 are dark chocolate. The question wants us to write down the ratio of white chocolate to milk chocolate to dark chocolate in its simplest form. The answer to question 13 is 3 to 2 to 1. Now, how do we get that? Well, step 1, we write the values as a ratio, so that's 24 to 16 to 8. Step 2, we need to find the highest common factor, which is 8. This is the largest number that divides evenly into all the numbers in our ratio. Now we divide all 3 values by 8. 24 divided by 8 equals 3. 16 divided by 8 equals 2. 8 divided by 8 equals 1. So the simplified ratio is 3 to 2 to 1. Any other answer would be wrong if the numbers were not divided by the same factor or not fully simplified, so make sure you find that highest common factor. Question 14. Rachel has some apples and bananas. The ratio of apples to bananas is 2 to 3. She has 14 apples. We need to work out how many bananas Rachel has. The answer to question 14 is 21 bananas. Let's break down why. If apples represent 2 parts, then each part equals 14 divided by 2. Think of it like splitting the apples into 2 equal groups. That gives us 7 as 1 part. Now, bananas are 3 parts, so we multiply that 1 part, which is 7, by 3. 3 times 7 equals 21. So Rachel has 21 bananas. The formula we used is 1 part equals known value divided by its ratio part, then multiply 1 part by the number of banana parts. Any other answer would be wrong if you didn't divide 14 correctly or forgot to multiply by 3. Always remember to follow each step. Question 15. Chris and Molly win money in a competition. and they share the money in the ratio of 2 to 3. Molly receives 240 pounds. How much money does Chris receive? The answer to question 15 is 160 pounds. Here's how we solve it. Step 1. Add the parts in the ratio. So 2 plus 3 equals 5 parts in total. Think of it as dividing the money into 5 shares. Step 2. We know Molly's 3 parts equals 240 pounds. So 1 part equals 240 divided by 3, which gives us 80 pounds. Step 3. Chris gets 2 parts, so we multiply 2 times 80, which equals 160 pounds. The formula we used is 1 part equals known value divided by the number of parts, then multiply by Chris's part. Any other answer would be wrong if you used the wrong ratio or didn't divide properly before multiplying. Make sure you're using the correct numbers. Question 16. The names of 5 shapes are given: pentagon, triangle, hexagon, kite, rectangle. 3 of them are drawn below. Shape A is called a pentagon. Shape B is called a triangle. Shape C is called a rectangle. So the answers are pentagon, triangle, and rectangle. Here's why. Shape A has 5 sides, so it is a pentagon. Shape B has 3 sides, so it is a triangle. Shape C has 4 sides with 2 pairs of equal lengths and right angles, so it is a rectangle. If you confuse the shapes, you would get the answer wrong because you must count the sides and check the angles. Always double check. Question 17. How many sides does a hexagon have? The answer to question 17 is 6. Here's why. The prefix hex in hexagon means 6. A regular hexagon has 6 equal sides. The formula used. There is no calculation formula here. You must memorize that hexagons always have 6 sides. Just remember, hex means 6. Any other number of sides is incorrect and would describe a different shape. Question 18. The names of 5 solid shapes are given: triangular prism, sphere, cube, cuboid, cylinder. 3 of them are drawn below. Shape A is called a cuboid. Shape B is called a cylinder. Shape C is a sphere. The answers are cuboid, cylinder, and sphere. Here's why. Shape A has 6 rectangular faces and right angles that makes it a cuboid. Shape B has 2 circular faces and 1 curved surface that makes it a cylinder. Shape C is round and has no faces or edges. That makes it a sphere. Any other answers would be incorrect if you confused 2D shapes with 3D solids or didn't observe the surfaces correctly. Okay, continue with question 19. Question 19. Here we have a solid shape. What is the mathematical name for this shape? The answer to question 19 is cone. Here's why. This solid has 1 flat circular face at the bottom and a curved surface that comes to a point at the top. This pointy top is what makes it a cone. It's not a cylinder because a cylinder has 2 flat circular faces, one on the top and one on the bottom. It's also not a sphere because a sphere is round like a ball and has no flat faces or edges. Lastly, it isn't a pyramid because pyramids have a base that is a polygon, like a square or triangle, and flat, triangular faces that come to a point. So the mathematical name for this shape is cone. Question 20. The shape above is a cuboid. How many faces does a cuboid have? The answer is 6. How many edges does a cuboid have? The answer is 12. How many vertices does a cuboid have? The answer is 8. Here's why. A cuboid is a shape, like a box, in 3 dimensions with 6 rectangular faces. Each corner where 2 or 3 edges meet is called a vertex. The plural of vertex is vertices. Each straight line along the edge of the cuboid is called an edge. Let's break it down. It has 6 faces: the front, back, top, bottom, left, and right. It has 12 edges, 4 around the top, 4 around the bottom, and 4 vertical edges connecting top to bottom. It has 8 vertices, 1 at each corner of the cuboid. So a cuboid always has 6 faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. Question 21. Car is related to garage in the same way as airplane is related to. Option A, air. Option B, airport. Option C, runway. Or option D, hangar. The answer to question 21 is option D, hangar. Here's why. A car is usually stored in a garage. Similarly, an airplane is stored in a hangar. We're looking for the place where the vehicle is kept or stored, not necessarily where it travels. Option A is incorrect because air is not a place. Option B is incorrect because the airport is where planes land and take off. but not where they are stored. Option C is incorrect because the runway is where the plane moves, but not where it is kept. So the correct answer is hangar, just like a garage is to a car. Question 22. After rearranging the words given below into a meaningful sentence, what is the first letter of the last word? The words are viewed, may, shape, when, angle, the, different, change, from. Option AC, option BV, option CM, or option DA. The answer to question 22 is option A, circa. Here's why. The correct sentence is, the shape may change when viewed from a different angle. The last word in the sentence is angle. The first letter of the word angle is A, but the question asks for the first letter of the last word. So the last word is angle, and the first letter of that word is A. So the correct answer should be D, A, but AC was circled, which seems to be an error. Correction. The answer should be option D, A, because angle is the last word, and the first letter of angle is A. Question 23. Mercury is related to liquid in the same way as argon is related to. Option A, nonmetal. Option B, gas. Option C, atmosphere. Or option D, planet. The answer to question 23 is option B, gas. Here's why. Mercury is a metal, but it's special because it exists as a liquid at room temperature. Similarly, argon is a gas at room temperature. We're matching their states of matter here. Option A is incorrect because nonmetal is a classification, not a state. Option C is incorrect because the atmosphere is where gases are found, but it's not a state of matter itself. Option D is incorrect because a planet is unrelated to the state of matter. So gas is the correct answer because argon is a gas. Question 24. In a certain code language, WAS, SON, and ON are represented by 613, 123, and 286, but not necessarily in the same order. In the same language, what could possibly be the code for sand? Option A, 6,837. Option B, 8,367. Option C, 2376. Or option D, 2,167. The answer to question 24 is option A, 6,837. Here's why. We know WAS, SON, and ON use the digits 1, 2, 3, 6, and 8. Looking at sand, we have the letters S, A, N, and D. S appears in WAS and SON. A appears in WAS. N appears in SON and ON. So, to be consistent, the code for sand would need to include the digits used in the other codes, especially the numbers from 613, 123, and 286. By the process of elimination, 6,837 is the only option that uses only digits already shown and has no new digits. So option A is correct. The other options use numbers like 7 or 6 inconsistently, or don't match the patterns. Option B is wrong because it mixes the order incorrectly. Options C and D have digits that don't match well to S, A, N, and D. 25 together. Ice is related to cube in the same way ice cream is related to, and the options are A, cold, B, dessert, C, box, and D, cube. The answer here is D, cube. Now, let's break down why. Ice is often shaped like a cube, right? So we can say that a cube is a form that ice can take. Now, thinking about ice cream, what form does it take? Well, ice cream, just like ice, can also be in a cube shape. So if ice transforms into a cube, then ice cream can also become a cube. Let's look at why the other options don't quite fit. A, cold. Cold is something you feel about ice cream, not its shape. B, dessert. Dessert is what kind of food ice cream is, not its form. C, box. While ice cream can come in a box, the box isn't the shape of the ice cream itself. Does that explanation make sense? Question 26. Question 26. Penguin is to Antarctica as anaconda is to option A, Amazon. Option B, reptile. Option C, Brazil. Option D, snake. The answer to question 26 is option C, Brazil. Here's the explanation. Penguins are commonly found in Antarctica, right? Anacondas, on the other hand, are native to Brazil. So this is a location-based analogy. Now let's look at why the other options aren't correct. Option A Amazon is close because the Amazon is part of Brazil. But we want the country, which is Brazil. Option B, reptile, is incorrect because reptile is the type of animal, not the location where it's found. And option D, snake, is also incorrect because snake is the category that anaconda belongs to, not the place where it lives. So the correct answer is Brazil. Question 27. Which out of the following words may carry an opposite implication to the phrase run-of-the-mill? Option A, mundane. Option B, usual. Option C, unquestionable. Option D, extraordinary. The answer to question 27 is option D, extraordinary. Here's why. Run-of-the-mill means ordinary or average, like something you see every day. The opposite of that would be something special or outstanding. Extraordinary means very special or unusual, which is the opposite of ordinary. Option A, mundane, means boring or everyday, so that's not the opposite. Option B, usual, means normal, which is similar to run-of-the-mill. Option C, unquestionable, means not in doubt, which isn't related to being average or special. So the correct opposite is extraordinary. Question 28. Statue is to pedestal, as blank is to podium. Option A, man. Option B, spectator. Option C, cement. Option D, orator. The answer to question 28 is option D, orator. Here's why. A statue stands on a pedestal, which is like a base that holds it up. Similarly, an orator, who is a speaker, stands on a podium to give a speech. Option A, man, is too general because anyone can stand on a podium. Option B, spectator, watches, but doesn't stand on the podium. Option C, cement, is a material, not something that stands on a podium. So the correct match is orator. Question 29. Volt is to potential difference, as blank is to current. Option A, ampere. Option B, farad. Option C, Tesla. Option D, ohm. The answer to question 29 is option A, ampere. Here's why. Volt is the unit of measurement for potential difference, which is like the force that pushes electricity. Ampere is the unit of measurement for current, which is the flow of electricity. Option B, farad, is a unit for capacitance, which is how much electricity something can store. Option C, Tesla, is a unit for magnetic field. Option D, ohm, is for resistance, which is how much something opposes the flow of electricity. So the correct unit for current is ampere. Question 30. Rotation is today as revolution is to option A, spin. Option B, sun. Option C, year. Option D, season. The answer to question 30 is option C, year. Here's why. A rotation of the Earth, which is when the Earth spins around once, causes 1 day. A revolution of the Earth around the sun, which is when the Earth goes all the way around the sun, causes 1 year. Option A, spin, is just another word for rotation. Option B, sun, is what Earth revolves around. Option D, season, changes within a year, but it's not directly caused by a revolution. So the correct answer is year. This concludes our video walkthrough for St. Olaves and Newstead Homework 18. Was that helpful?
So now I'm going to be going through the answers to the MVR section of this homework. So that these are all similarity questions in this homework. So for the first question, let's see. So for the first box, so looking at it, so the outer bit here, you may not have noticed, but it's grey and the inside shape is also grey. Same here, it's white on the outside and the inside bit is also white. So the outside colour and the inside shape colour should be the same. So here we've got white, but then we've got black, so we can rule out A. Here we've got grey and black, so we can rule out B. Here we've got white and white, so that's fine. We can leave C in, and we can leave D in as well because white and white. So that's fine. Now we've narrowed it down, so let's look at. So between C and D, the only difference is this shape here. So is it going to be a circle or a triangle? So that's what we need to decide. So here we've got a circle and in this one we've got a triangle. And what's different about them? So here with the circle, in the triangle that's in, it's got these vertical lines, but the one with the triangle in has got these circles. So the circle must mean vertical lines. And because both these triangles have the vertical lines, it must be a circle. So the answer is C, not D, because it has a triangle, so it should be the circles, not the vertical lines. So C is the answer. Moving on to the next question. Here, as you can see, in each one we've got 3 shapes, and the outside one is always grey. So we can rule out D already because the outside shape is white here, and it should be grey. Next thing, each one has 1 dashed shape and 2 straight edge shapes. 1 dashed, 2 straight edged. So we can rule out A because all 3 of them are straight edge. There's no dashed one. We can rule out B because 2 of them are dashed when only 1 of them should be dashed. So we're left with the answer C. 1 dashed shape, 1, and then 2 straight, unbroken, lined shapes. So C is the correct answer. Next one, we've got a triangle. So that's a 3-sided shape. And then we've also got 3 other shapes. Here we've got a square, 4-sided shape, and then 4 other shapes. So the number of sides determines the number of the other shapes present. So here we've got 4 and then 3. So not A. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 4. So looking like B is the answer, but let's just go through the rest of them. Here we've got a hexagon, so 6-sided, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So not C. Here we've got 4-sided, but 3 other shapes. So it's not D. So B is the answer, because we've got a 4-sided shape and 4 other shapes present in the box. Next question. So here we've got 2 shapes that overlap one shape that's at the back. So these 2 are in front of, both of them are in front of this yellow one at the back. So here, already looking at the first one, we've got 1, 2 at the front, and then 1 at the back. So, yep, A is the answer, but let's just go through the rest. So here we have got 1, 2 at the front and 1 at the back, but the reason B is not the answer is because I'm just going to rub the colours out just to make it clear again. I'll do this in green. So here, as you can see, the short one goes through the back rectangle once, and the long one goes through it twice. So there should be 3 overlaps. 1, 2, 3. Here there is 1, 2, 3. Here there is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's another part of the pattern. So, and then here 1, 2. So it's not C because it should be 3. And then it's not D because this one is not going in front, it's actually going behind it. So that's wrong. So A is the answer. Next question. These shapes have a line of symmetry in between the mirror line here going down the middle. So we need to find 2 that have that symmetrical. So the answer, just looking at them, you can already tell it's going to be B. That is the mirror line. These 2 are symmetrical. All the rest are not. Next question. We've got 2 rectangles, 1 grey circle and 1 white circle. So I'm just going to start by eliminating some of the options. All of them should have those features. So it's looking like all of them have that. Another thing, the white circle is always in the rectangle, not outside, and the grey circle is always outside. So we can rule out C because the white circle is not in the rectangle, and then we can rule out D for that reason as well. And then now it's between A and B. Another thing, is that the two shapes, so here the square and the rectangle are touching. The two rectangles are touching here, so they're always touching. Here they are touching, so A is the answer. In B, they're not touching, so B is not the answer. Next question. Got two shapes. And here, for this one, I'm going to count the number of sides. So we've got a 4-sided shape here and a 5-sided shape just looking at it. So that equals 9. And then here we've got a 3-sided, and this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got a 3 and a 5. So that equals 8. So we've got odd, even. In the odd one, you can't see where it overlaps, like one shape is behind it. When it's even, you can see that the shape overlaps, like it's in front instead of behind. So here we've got 3 and 4, so 7. And you can see that there's one shape in front of the other, which is wrong, because if it's odd, it should be behind, like it is in box 1. So it's not A. B, we've got, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's an 8-sided shape and a 4-sided. So we've got 12. And one shape is in front of the other, like visibly in front, like you can see that, like it is in box 2. And it is even number of sides, and it matches how the overlap is done in box 2. So B is the answer. Just to confirm, this is 8-sided and 4-sided, so 12. But as you can see here, the shape, you can't see the other end of this rectangle, which is like how it is in box 1, which wouldn't make sense because this matches the number of sides of box 2, because there's an even number of sides, but it's following the pattern of box 1, so it's not C. And then D, same reason again, because we've got a 6 and a 4-sided, so 10. So you can't see the other end of this rectangle. It's at the back, like how you can't see the corner of this pentagon here. So B is the answer. Now on to the next question. Here we've got 3 shapes, so just gonna rule some out. We can rule out A because there's only 2, and we can rule out D because there's 4, 1 big one and 3 on the inside. And also the 2 inside shapes are both different from each other, so we can rule out B as well, because these 2 are the same when they should be different. So C is the correct answer because these 2 are different, and there's only 3 shapes in total, 1 big one and 2 small ones. Now on to the last 2 questions. Here we've got one shape that has curved sides and one straight lined shape that's a quadrilateral. And the quadrilateral always has these circle things in it, and the curved shape always has horizontal lines. So we can rule out A because they're both got the circle things in. We can rule out B because they're both lined when one of them should not be. And we can rule out C because the curved shape should have the lines in it, and the quadrilateral should have the circle things in it. So we're left with D. That's the correct answer. The curved shape has horizontal lines, and the quadrilateral has the circle ball things inside. Last question here. Here, as you can see, the arrow always goes through the curved bit here like that. Where the curve goes inwards like that, the arrow goes through it like that. Like here as well, the arrow is going through it at the curved bit. So here, looking at it, the answer is going to be C, because as you can see, the arrow is going through this where it curves inwards, like at the one end of the shape, and both the arrows are going through that part. So, yep, C is the answer. And by curved bit, I meant like the smaller curved bit, because this bit will be larger when it joins together. So, yeah. So C is the answer. And that's the end of these.